quarterbacks injured week 2. It seems to happen in bunches like this where all of a sudden everyone's healthy until they're not. Let's start with Andy Dalton, the knee injury that was suffered on Sunday by Dalton in the Bears win over the Bengals. It's not believed to be an ACL tear. MRI today. Justin Fields, Mike, is going to be the guy if Dalton misses time. There was some chatter yesterday. Maybe Nick Foles would slide into that starter role so they could continue to bring Justin Fields along slowly. And his numbers weren't great yesterday, but I think they believe Fields is ready to go if Dalton can't, and that he will indeed become the starter if Dalton misses time. And again, we won't know until they do the MRI, but could be Fields going back to Cleveland for his first NFL start coming in Ohio. Of course, he played at Ohio State. It could be him on Sunday.
Yeah, listen, again, I will continue to say I was one that said start Andy Dalton because I thought the defense was not like it was a couple of years ago, but close enough to it where I think that defense could lead the team and the offense could maybe do enough in that division for them to fight for the playoffs. And I wasn't starting a rookie. I wasn't starting a rookie if I have a team that could possibly make the playoffs. I'll say it again. Justin Fields may be an incredible quarterback. And we saw some flash plays in the preseason, which doesn't mean a whole lot because the best-looking quarterback in the preseason was Zach Wilson. How's that working out in the regular season when it all starts to get real out there? Justin Fields may turn out to be a really good quarterback, but he's going to make more mistakes than big plays. He'll wow every now and then, had a nice run, but he'll throw an interception. He'll get the ball knocked out of his hand as he's trying to make a play. Complete under 50% of his passes. It's going to happen as you see the drive chart after the Dalton injury. So we all know he was going to be the quarterback of the future, and that's cool. My only point was, and it wasn't sit him on the bench so he learns. My only point was the Bears may have a chance to do something. Let a veteran quarterback do it, just like I said in San Francisco. It wasn't about sitting and learning because we all know Fields is going to be the guy. But if he's pushed into service before Matt Nagy wanted, then we'll see. Then we'll see what the growth rate is going to be. And it would be a tough first start against Cleveland and that defense, that's for sure.
Yeah, and I think that Nagy at some level really does want to bring Fields along. He's influenced by the experience that he had in Kansas City when Nagy was the offensive coordinator and Patrick Mahomes was a rookie and didn't play until week 17. But you're right. If you think you can win games with Dalton, you think you're a better team with Dalton, then that's what you do. And one very important voice in all that we still haven't heard loudly and clearly is what the locker room thinks of it. Sims made the point last week that after Fields scored the touchdown against the Rams, they rallied around him with kind of a message like, hey, we really believe in this kid. We'll see how much anyone can or should believe in him if he does play this week, if Dalton is out. Again, they don't believe it's a torn ACL. You can tell some things by how you manipulate the knee externally. The MRI will tell the story as to whether and to what extent Dalton is out and Fields is in. In Miami, Tua Tagovailoa got rocked early multiple times by the Bills' defense. And on the last play where he went down, held his ribs at first, and then he was coming off. His shoulder was kind of hanging, and it wasn't clear what it was. He was carted off. They announced it was a rib injury. X-rays negative. Tests last night. Tests today. Not clear whether and to what extent he's going to miss time. Jacoby Brissett is the backup there. They signed him in the offseason away from the Colts. But, Mike, if for some reason Tua is going to be out for an extended period of time, you know that Deshaun Watson talk is going to kick in again.
Oh, I think unless Tua continued to play and had an unbelievable year, that talk was going to continue. And that's why I said two guys in the beginning of the season were Alabama quarterbacks, Jalen Hurts, who I think is playing pretty well, and then Tua in Miami, where they were, as we have mentioned, openly courting Deshaun Watson. So, yeah, that's going to happen. And if this is a rib injury, let's see how they play that, because I've certainly had those. But as a D lineman, it's a hell of a lot different. You stuck a needle in it, and you go out there and you play. You don't know if you're going to do that with a quarterback or not. You know, you never know. And I can tell you, that injury makes you feel like an 80-year-old man, trying to take a breath. So if it is it the cartilage? Is it a cracked rib? Is it torn cartilage in between the ribs? We're going to have to wait and see. And it was on the left side. You saw where he was reaching. So it's on the side of the arm he throws with. So the taking the ball back and the follow through. So we're just going to have to wait and see. But he is also a guy, I still think, using the term wait and see, that's what everybody, and I think the coaching staff is saying about Tua. Let's wait and see how he plays.
And, Mike, I can also proudly add to my list of amateur athletic injuries both broken ribs and bruised rib cartilage. And let me tell you, even if you don't have a broken rib, if that cartilage gets bruised, it hurts just the same.
Can I ask what did it? Did you fall down the stairs, or were you actually doing or trying to do something athletic?
What? No. I got the broken ribs when I was 14, and we were climbed a hill near where I lived, and I was sliding down, and I thought it was an overgrown root, so I could kind of hold myself and work my way down. It wasn't. It was just a stick, and off I went, and I tumbled and fell, and probably should have died, because there were like some pretty large rocks I almost slammed my head into, but all I got was 3 broken ribs for the trouble. And then I took a knee to the chest playing touch football once, and that did the rib cartilage, and it hurt the same. That's what stunned me. It hurt the same.
Did it end your career? Did it end your career at that point?
No. Just let it heal. Just let it heal. Just numbed it up, baby. Dr. Needle came by, and we were good to go. Carson Wentz, ankle injury due to an unfortunate encounter with Aaron Donald, got rolled up on as Donald was pulling him down. Today we'll know, just like we always do. They find out the extent of the damage with the MRI. Apparently wasn't broken, but with an ankle, there's all sorts of ligaments in there that can cause you trouble. Jacob Eason came in and promptly threw an interception. Chris Sims called a shot in the viewing room. He knew Eason was going to try to do something that he shouldn't have tried to do. And Eason is the guy. Sam Ehlinger's on IR. If Wentz is ever out for the season, and there's no reason to think that this is going to knock him out for the season, that's when the Nick Foles thing becomes real. I don't think they'd ever bring Nick Foles in if Wentz is still able to return because of the weird Philadelphia dynamic between the two. But if it ever would be Wentz out for the season and the trade deadline is still not come and gone, it comes November 2, I think Foles would be an option.
I think he definitely would. And as far as Wentz, you saw his foot kind of fold when he got tackled by Donald. You saw him trying to tape it over on the sideline, and then it was his right foot, so that's his back foot to push off of. You saw him trying to push off of it on the sideline, inevitably end with his hand in his head saying, or his head in his hand saying, I'm not going to be able to do that. And Eason goes in. Now, Eason had to try and take him down the field, so you knew he was going to try and put one in there. I know Chris made the call, Sims made the call, which was a good call because he did promptly throw an interception. But a big difference will be if Carson's going to be out, now Eason's going to take all the reps because you're taking number 2 reps all week, which aren't a lot. And then you're in the game. Now, at any given time, one play and you could be in the game like he was. But there'll be a difference if he is running first team all week, getting all the reps, getting all the talk with the coaches, solely because if Carson's going to be out. So that certainly would help Jacob Eason a whole lot more than just getting thrust into the game in a situation where you need to get the ball down the field.
Yeah, and it was alarming when Wentz was out with the foot injury, and we just assumed Eason was the guy. Then all of a sudden they really like Ehlinger, and I think one of the reasons they really like Ehlinger is because of the limitations for Eason. So if Wentz is out, they need it to be a short absence because they are still in the midst of a 5-game stretch to start the season that is very, very difficult, and it may be over for them before it even gets started the way things are going there now, obviously 0-2. Tyrod Taylor hamstring injury in the first half for the Texans. He looked great. And the Texans may have won that game if he hadn't gotten injured. Nobody knew he was injured until Davis Mills came out as the starter to begin the third quarter. I thought there were requirements for in-game injury updates. Apparently, the Texans said, yes, he's out with a hamstring injury. The talk immediately turned to Deshaun Watson because they're paying him $10.5 million, Mike. He's on the team. Short week. David Culley was asked after the game whether or not Watson would play. He said, we'll see. I'm told it would be a major shock if it's anyone other than Davis Mills if Tyrod Taylor can't go. Short week. Watson hasn't been around. They don't want him to play. They don't want him to get injured.
No.
They don't want to lose the bounty of picks that they're going to get either now or later. And, important point, the league hasn't decided whether to put him on paid leave because of the sexual assault allegations because they haven't had to make a decision because the Texans aren't trying to put him on the field. If all of a sudden, if today on the practice report it says Deshaun Watson did practice, that's when the league would say, hang on a second, hang on, we need to make a decision now on whether or not we're going to let this guy play. So that's another factor that pushes against the idea of Watson suddenly coming back.
So, but before I talk about Watson coming back, let me ask you: do you think if they said we're going to make him play this week, do you think the league would step in this week and say he's on the exemption list and he's not playing?
I don't know, because the league hasn't even gone down that path. The league looked at it and said, we don't need to do anything. As long as the Texans are going to pay him to not play, we don't need to even begin to make a decision. Let it play out. Let him not play and get paid. We're in the same spot. But if all of a sudden he's going to play, that's when we have to make a decision. And I think that's the message. I know that's the message the league gave to the Dolphins a couple of weeks ago when it was getting real between Miami and Houston, because Miami wanted to know, are we just going to give up all this stuff for a guy that you're going to put on paid leave? And the league does not like to tip its hand in those matters. And more importantly, the league doesn't make decisions until it has to. Hasn't had to. So now, hey, I don't know. I don't know which side you err on if you're the league when you don't have much time to make a decision. But if it would bubble up like that, they have a pretty quick turnaround, because the Texans would need to know whether or not they're wasting their time getting Deshaun Watson ready to play on Thursday night. But it would be a stunner if it happens. Look for Davis Mills if Tyrod Taylor can't play on a short week.
Yeah, the other side of that is then do you put him on the field if you can? And I'm with you. They want to trade him. They're not going to put him on the field and risk him getting injured with the injury money out there. So I don't think that's going to happen. I think it's going to be Davis Mills, and I think it's a tough ask. I do not think Tyrod Taylor is going to play. Again, we talk about the soft tissue like we would T.J. Watt with the groin. This is a hamstring on a mobile quarterback on a short week. I would be stunned if Taylor is playing in this game. So again, just what I said about Jacob Eason, if he's not, you're going to get Davis Mills, who at least is going to get the number one reps. Now, it is a short week, and you're playing a Carolina team with a defense. I just sang their praises and went down a list of accomplishments they have had this year. So that is one hell of a tough ask for the young quarterback if he gets his first start in the short week.
They do have Jeff Driscoll on the practice squad, but I doubt – I mean, he's on the practice squad for a reason. I doubt that they would call him up and give him meaningful reps this week. He would just be the backup to Davis Mills if it came to it. So that's where the Texans stand as they try to avoid falling to 0-3 on a short week. They won. They're one. I'm just so wired to think they're going to stink. They're 1-1, and they could have been 2-0 if Taylor had stayed healthy. Right. And who knows? Who knows? Hey, I learned week one, and based on what we saw yesterday, I'm not going to write the Texans off because they got some talented veterans. Nick Caserio did a very good job of accumulating talented veterans who were available in free agency, and this team is better than what we thought it would be. And they covered yesterday, which is it doesn't count in the standings, but it may count for some.
Counts for a lot of
let's
people.
Go ahead.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.